today. Is Justin's going to say, and I'm going to say in a short few words, we didn't think we'd ever be here, okay? How many of you were coming about 2-3 weeks ago when it rained like hell? Thanks for hanging in there, okay? After Justin talks about history, we got 3 or 4 people that do want to make some comments to you folks. Folks in the city, James Brown, some friends of mine from the Utah Black Chamber. I don't know if I let Tracy Dean have the microphone or not. Where she went.
You don't know.
But anyway, I've known Justin since, well, not as long as Sharon Horry has, but since this place started construction, when he became a business owner, a founder, a developer, a dreamer, and absolutely unbelievable. When they're through making comments, some of you may remember that this is a flyer from March 19th of 2020. Ribbon cutting at Grit City Beer Works. Guess what happened? I think you all know what happened in March of 2020. And then we got rained out 2 or 3 weeks ago. So we are going to cut a ribbon a year and a half later. But when Justin through talking about his crew, it's just a pleasure to see business owners, entrepreneurs who have a dream and sink their talents, their time, their fortunes into doing an incredible venture like this. And be sure to tell them about the dog availability of this place also. Some of them may not be aware of that. So I don't want to talk too much more right now, except Justin Bellabo has become one of my good friends, and here you go.
Woo! Woo! Yeah!
Thank you, Gary. Thank you all. Welcome. If it's your first time here at Grit City, we certainly hope that you're going to become a regular and we get to know you and your dogs too, because where you are right now is on a dog-friendly rooftop deck. I don't think there's another one in South Salt Lake. So next time you come back, this space is now open 7 days a week, 7 nights a week, and dog-friendly rooftop patio. So I've had about a year and a half to think about what I would say when it came to ribbon cutting, but admittedly I'm not that well prepared. But a couple of things as I was driving over here, I'm like, okay, I got to kind of think about some insight, and I think the insight that I want to share that we've learned as a group is just a hard-fought lesson of that distinction between luck and fortune. And in my mind, luck is like something situational. Luck is like when you're playing cards and you don't get the cards you want, right? And you're going to lose that hand, or it's just not going your way. Or you schedule your grand opening to coincide with a pandemic. Or you have a ribbon cutting that was actually postponed 3 times because there was another rain. And actually on March 19th, it was going to be pouring buckets. But the important thing that we learned is just how just that solid basis of resilience you get from good fortune, those things that you're just so fortunate to have. And there's you guys have probably seen a guy, Marcus Lemonis, who has a show called The Profit, he's business minded. And he talks about the 3 P's of business. All right, there's one person. And the three P's are what? People, product, and process, right? And
I
for
said
us,
profit, but I think process.
Process.
I just skipped to
we don't think about profit here at Grit City.
I skipped there.
We don't think about it.
We don't think about profit. We're realists.
Oh.
And we have a business learn a program. But for us, like the 3 P's really come down to partnership, property, and people. And on the partnership side of things, I'll introduce myself. I'm the president of Grit City Beer Works. I'm one of 3 partners in this deal. Drew Reynolds is here. If you're here on any given night, you're going to get to know Drew really well. He comes up to every table and introduces himself. And he does it because that's truly in his heart. He wants you guys to have a great time and be part of the family when you're here as a customer here at Grit City. Our other partner is Jeremy Gross. He's our head brewer. He is a family man like me, and so he called away tonight after brewing beer all day to just attend to what it's like to run a family and a business at the same time. But I got to know these guys back in 2014. That's when Grit City Beer really started for me, when Drew moved in next to me. I was right next door. I didn't know him. He moved in next door. Started talking about business generally. Drew runs a few different businesses here in South Salt Lake, so he's a long-standing member, very quietly, of the South Salt Lake business community. but a very successful entrepreneur who has incredible business insights and also really well-refined palate when it comes to beer. So he really ruined my life by exposing me to amazing craft beer and talking about what it would be like to start a brewery. And the missing piece was somebody who could actually brew the beer. And Drew's suggestion was, well, come on over tomorrow night, meet my friend Jeremy. He and Jeremy had been working on this plan to start a brewery, I guess, for a while, and trying recipes and all sorts of stuff, and see if you like his beer. And if you do, we can make a go of it. So I showed up at Drew's house the next night. I think he was a little shocked when I walked out and gave Jeremy a big hug, because he and I were friends from like 20 years ago, working at restaurants in Park City. So it kind of felt like it was star-crossed, like it was meant to be. That partnership was formed then. And it's been a wild ride. That's 2014 to 2020, now 2021 to open a business. Let's just give you a sense of how hard it is to open a business like this. It takes time. And the reason why it took so long was a couple things. First, it was making sure that we had the right product and how we're going to present ourselves. And there were iteration after iteration, batch after batch of beer. And what you're here and enjoying is the outcome of so much hard work and preparation that went into that on a long, long journey. And that is driven by the fact that the three of us as partners were passionate about a couple things. At the top of that list of things that we're passionate about is your experience of beer. The beautiful thing about beer is that you can do so much with it. And it's an art form that you can express yourself in so many different ways. And the beer that you're drinking today, trust me, every single one of them had hundreds of batches in preparation for launching this business. And that was done not through my input. I was a PBR drinker before I met Drew. Yeah. But Drew has an amazingly refined palate and a sense for what's going to work. And the experience of beer is so important. It's how you experience the taste, balance, and finish. The three sensory perceptions of beer. Three is such an important thing for our business. We're 333 West. We're three business partners. We can have our ales three different ways, Pilsners three different ways. So three is like, we don't have room for a fourth person if anyone wants to join our business partnership. We're capped at three. Yeah. So it's about the experience of beer and having a great community space together. And that leads me to the next reason why it took so long, and that's to find property. We were going to launch this business in Salt Lake City and had plans, we were pretty well developed actually to build a building. And just twisting the road wound up taking a lot of time and expense and wound up being too risky for us. And we hunted for another location, and we are just so blessed that we found this location here in South Salt Lake. Just look at the view that we get of the mountains, look at the parking that we have, the visibility. 2100 South, I'm told at some point, is going to be fully open, and 300 West will too. Ease of access that we're sold. But it really is the community. There's so much going on here that we could sense even a couple years ago when we started this thing, and so much has happened. And that's a reflection of Mayor Wood and all that you've done here to make this the type of community where we're comfortable taking the risk that we're taking in launching this business here. And that, I have to say, is reflected all the way through your staff. And there are a number of people that we encountered along the way who've been such great supporters of us, and I'd like to acknowledge Alex White on her team, and of course Sharon and Leslie and everybody else that's worked together in supporting our project, and also creating and launching the Creative Industry Zone, which I know there's going to be more information about. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine a better place for us to locate our business. And I'll just share one anecdote. I think I just boil it down to like the folks within the South Salt Lake city government have been so supportive of launching our business. The question has always been, what can we do to support your business and launch your business? So when issues arose, we would approach them and talk about it from that perspective and problem solve together. And one of them actually kind of had a little bit of a comical outcome. There's a sequence of events to actually get your license to be able to brew beer. And in most jurisdictions, you have to have a business license, which requires you to have a certificate of occupancy, which requires you to have all of your construction complete. And we wanted to be open on March 19th. Couldn't wait to get open in March of 2020. So thinking ahead, we're like, well, we're not going to get construction done until like 2 weeks before that. And if we started that chain of events, that means we wouldn't be able to sell beer until probably May. because it takes a long time to go through that approval process, get the ingredients, brew the beer, have all your tanks full. Salt Lake worked with us, figured out a solution that would allow us to get our business license, get a brewing license, get brewing beer before we had occupancy. Awesome. Everything's going according to plan. Every one of our tanks was full of beer on March 19th of 2020. We couldn't sell it. Be that as it is, it's an awesome place for us to do business. We wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So I really applaud you for everything you've done and everything that your staff has done to support us. So the last P is should be Pilsner. It's not. It's actually people. And we're blessed. If you come back here, I truly, genuinely, and sincerely mean it, and every one of our staff does. We want you to feel like you're a member of our family here. We really want you to experience beer and our food and this atmosphere in the way that we intended. And that starts with probably the most surprising thing for us has been our kitchen. Our head chef, Ian Clare, took a risk, moved across the country to join us, and has really pushed the envelope, we think, in terms of creating that approachable gastropub experience that complements and sometimes even exceeds the experience of beer. And the cool thing about our menu is that it's welcoming and open to all. It's a vegan-based menu, so whether you're vegan or vegetarian or a meat eater like me, or a family from out of town, you know you can always find something of interest here, and that menu is always going to rotate. We have daily rotating specials here on our menu, so there's always something new and interesting here. And then, of course, the staff that you interact with, it's like a family. And really, these people are amazing, and they're so dedicated through thick and thin, and they're our brand ambassadors. And we really have exceeded any of the expectations I could have ever had in terms of how we represent ourselves. And that really boils down to the one person who's really the captain of the ship here at Grid City Beer Works, and I'd like to acknowledge her, and that's our general manager, Jennifer Carapezza. Jennifer also joined us, took a risk when moving across the country, taking an even bigger risk, taking the plunge. She's joining our family, now formally in our partnership. Drew and Jennifer are getting married next week. So it turns out we have room. That's all I had to say. Thank you guys so much. I invite Mayor Wood and anybody, Gary, else up here. And of course, Gary, thank you so much for all your support along the way too. And thank you guys for everything you've done to make this a supportive business community, and we're just stoked to be a part of it.
Back on. I do belatedly acknowledge, Mayor Cherie Wood. Raise your hand. Councilwoman Leanne Huff. Well, hi Sam, District 2. How are you? Okay. October 5th is a Tuesday evening. We're going to do our every other year Meet the Candidates evening. So all the candidates that are running for either council seat or mayor will face our lineup, and we'll ask them questions. The same questions. So both are good events. One of our board members, Julie Miller, is the host of those. I'm just
Let's cut the ribbon! Let's cut the ribbon!
So I know Mayor Leanne, you got invited up. You want to come up and help cut this ribbon? And your crew, Drew, Jim.
Yeah.
What's that? Next three?
We need you three.
These are heavier than I thought they were.
Wait, so no, get around.
They're sharp. They work.
Watch out.
And we always pose for some photo ops before we actually cut it. Get it here. Okay. I've got two of our board members here, Dan Stark and Greg McDonough.
Here.
Okay. Okay, yeah, don't cut right away. Take your picture.
Wait, come on. I need to get this on Instagram.
Okay, are you through? Ready to cut?
Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Woo!
Terry and Teresa are the co-chairs of the Women Business Committee. For those of you that are members of the Women Business Committee, raise your hand. The most active committee in this chamber, and you've all heard it said before, if you want something done well,
We want
all a
more
bunch of
members.
women.
We want more members. So come talk to us if you're interested.
And he hadn't planned on this, but Scott married up a few months ago when he married this one. Scott, raise your hand. Everywhere she is, Scott's there.
He loves it too, you
Whether
guys.
it's bringing
He
food,
loves it.
really appreciate you,
He's
Scott.
really happy about
I
it.
want you to know that. But I married up too, so there you go. Terry, your turn.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so we already talked about the women in business. They're amazing, and it's a fun group. We're gonna do a surprise baby shower on Friday for someone that's part of the group, and it's just we do a lot of fun stuff. We do business. We're going to do more business development for the committee. Anyways, if you're interested, come talk to me. And then the other thing I wanted to say is, if you do not know what's happening on September 30th, you have to come talk to me, and we'll get you registered. It's our Canvas for a Cause launch party. It's a big deal to me. It's a nonprofit. We're looking for sponsors. If anyone wants to buy a round of drinks or food or whatever, but it's September 30th. And I think I had, it's Leslie and Sharon time.
It's what?
Leslie and Sharon time. Let's talk about art. Woo! Yay!
Thank you. I am Sharon Hurry. I'm Director of the Department of Neighborhoods for South Salt Lake, formerly known as Urban Design Director, but we've had some amazing cool changes in the city. And on my left is Leslie Allen, Director of the South Salt Lake Arts Council. I'll just introduce you because you have time to talk. And Jen Hill, who is our Community Outreach Director. Very soon they get to talk in just a second. But I just want to say thanks for being here and thanks for being a part of South Salt Lake. I look around and so many of you in this room actually contributed to where we are today, and I just want to have a little history like Justin, because I was actually mentioned Nitro. It's so exciting that we don't go that far back, but there was a time when South Salt Lake was like, maybe we should build a streetcar and maybe we should build a downtown. And Salt Lake seems like, yeah, you should, and kind of bullying us around, and we're like, we don't know, is this who we want to be? And Sheree would step in and said, yes, we want to be a city. And I love the name Grid City because we're breweries and distilleries and everybody else that's doing creative things in South Salt Lake. And so we really want to see you all come to that. And it's Saturday. Saturday, October 9th from 1 to 5 p.m. And we will have all of our breweries and distilleries there selling craft beer and cocktails, we have food trucks, live music. We'll have creative businesses from South Salt Lake and artist booths and vendors selling their wares. And this year's extra special because we have a guest mural artist coming from Mexico who was unable to come for Mural Fest because she will be painting a mural on the whole south side of Beehive Distilling. And if you get a chance to look on her social media, you can see the artist and look up her work. And she's done things for Tim Burton, and she's amazing. So we're so excited about that.
Okay, so thank you, Leslie. Jamie! You're probably wondering, what am I doing up here and why am I holding my phone? Well, there was some foreshadowing with what Leslie just said. She wants you to go to sslrts.org on your phone, which is our Arts Council website, and download an app. So in the menu, there's a drop down called the Creative Industry Zone. And there is an app that was created by the Merry Thieves, aka Sam and Daniel. Thank you so much. And it's quite clever. The first 10 to download the app will get some swag, and we all like swag, right? So those water bottles and that one that just fell down is the prize. But while we're waiting, I have some South Salt Lake trivia for you. True or false? Is there a former Miss South Salt Lake in the audience? First one to answer gets swag. Who said it? Yes! The answer is yes! Will the Miss South Salt Lake from a decade ago please stand up? There she is! There she is! Come up and get your prize. Okay, second trivia question. Who was the first female mayor of South Salt Lake? Daniel.
Sheree Wood, right?
October. How many square miles is the city of South Salt Lake? Anyone? Come on, people!
6.
Yes! Oh, that is awesome. Come claim your prize. Okay, where am I at now? So this past year we had our 4th annual what? What was something that we hosted in May? Yes! Oh my gosh! I got one! Who were on fire. Okay, and with that, how many commissioned murals from Mural Fest are in existence now?
35.
Who said that? What? Okay, and by October, how many will there be?
36.
Yes! Sharon! You can't. Okay, wait a minute. We're gonna pretend.
36.
Oh, yes.
Oh, let's tell them.
Yes, you got it. Scott, you got it. How many more bags do we have? Okay. All right. What brewery opened up? Stop it. Opened in 2012 in the midst of COVID. Has a commission mural inside by Bill Lewis. And has a roof deck that is
I
the
could totally
bomb.
do it, yeah.
And has an amazing view of South Salt Lake.
Grid City.
Yes, that was too easy. Who makes the most phenomenal baklava that's paired with the beer tonight? Who made it? Yes! Good job. Okay, now it's going to get really tough. Of the 7 city council members of South Salt Lake, how many are women?
3.
5.
Who said 5? Greg? Greg! Surprise. Good job. And the final question, drum roll please. Oh gosh. I'm on a roll, so I gotta get this right. And who, okay, wait a minute. So, and when you spot this symbol on a business, what does it mean and what does it represent? Just say the name. Who said it? Sam gets the prize. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you so much for participating. If you downloaded the app, raise your hand. We've got some water bottles for you too. But you'll know if you're in any of these businesses and see this little app that you're in the zone. So you're a zoner. So welcome and thank you so much.
Good friend of mine is the chair of the board of Alpha Graphics, chair of the board of the chamber, and owner of Alpha Graphics in South Salt Lake. He bought your first round, so say hi and thanks to Greg McDonough. You're welcome for the first round, and anyway, I'll just put a plug in for the chamber. If you're not a member of the chamber, please join up. We've struggled through this pandemic thing, and we're going to revisit this next year and start our dinner and our golf tournament and everything else that goes on with the chamber. But I'm happy to be the chairman. We've kind of pushed through this, and we appreciate all of your support tonight. And I'd just like to introduce my top salesman here, Christian, who's right here. So he's in business. We're celebrating, and we're happy to say we're celebrating our 14th year in South Salt Lake. So we're glad to be here. Couldn't have better business and better business partners around the city. So I'm really excited to be here. We'll continue to be here for years and years to come. So thank you very much. Thanks, Greg. Speaking of chambers, Christian was, I think he got a break. He's no longer the chair of the board of the Sugar House Chambers. How'd you get out of that? How did you get out of that? Wherever Tracy went, the LGBTQ chamber. And hold your hands up, those of you here from the Utah Black Chamber. Bunch of them. James Jackson wasn't able to make it, huh? Okay, well, we're going to talk about him later. Okay, but we appreciate it. Another James. Come on up, young man, Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown.
Tell us what you're doing and what you're doing here.
I don't know what I'm doing. You know, I'm just standing here. But first of all, I want to thank the mayor. She's a great mayor, and Leanne Huff. Let me tell you about living in this community. It is one of the coolest places. You can meet people, make friends, and do things. And I think this city is on the move and making something different for all of us. If you see the cameras here, these guys are here because we're producing a national television show called Living with Pride and Living and Aging with Pride. And we've been touring the city, talking to all kinds of dignitaries to talk about what they're doing about affordable housing, assisted living, helping older adults adjust to life as we get older. And let me tell you, as I look around at all you young fly people, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, you can expect to get older. It's going to happen. So if I'm telling you now, start planning, start making the deals to make your life better and make your life and make other people's lives better. We talked today with a lady that was 85 years old, and did she tell us what to do? You can be assured of it. But I'm happy to be launching this from South Salt Lake because I have been welcomed into this community with the idea that we can build together, we can grow together, and we can stimulate together. I want to make a real point here. It's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's a people thing. And we have to all start looking at one another as people and address the issues of building and developing together. And until we do that, we're going to find we're going to be faced with the stupidity that is taking place when we try to pass on the language of what are we going to do next. So I'm thankful for the mayor and the city council and the people of Salt Lake. And this lady, where'd she go? There she is. Come here. Awesome lady. I mean, the team that works here, my brother Ross Romero, you know, I mean, great people in this community. So take this evening and say to yourselves, I've got brothers and sisters that I can hold their hand, I can build a better community. And the other thing is you're going to be on national television, so pay me now. All right, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Terry,
Go get
anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna force Teresa to come out really quick.
Yeah, do, okay. How many of you like baklava? How many of you have how many have yet to order from Mosaic Bakery? Baklava.
Well, she brought a ton of baklava that's
Okay.
over there. You guys need to try it before you leave.
Okay, these two are the co-chairs, I mentioned them earlier, of the Women of Business. And combination of make my life easier and drive me nuts in a good way, because they keep me on my toes, don't you? Oh my God. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. So, is this the last thing on the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mosaic
Drew came up to me. How many of you, when we're done here, would like to have, is it going to be you?
Yeah.
Oh, come up and talk, answer any questions you have about beer. If there are no questions from the audience, I think there's going to be. You can see them afterwards. Teresa, it's a pleasure. Tell us about Mosaic.
I knew you were going to do that. I was hoping that Gary would be able to explain the whole Mosaic thing. But we have baklava in the corner. So I own a business called Mosaic Bakery. It's a way to celebrate the different cultures that reside in our city. I'm Armenian, my business partner is Lebanese. And so all of our baklava is traditional. Therefore, we have one that's Toledo inspired and one that's Greek inspired in the corner. And it goes really well with beer. So definitely stock up, enjoy. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out or grab a business card and email me. So, yeah.
Woo!
Did anything you want to add, Mr. Grid City?
I'll go. Let me go. You want to go?
Okay. Beer questions.
All right. Your question.
Hi everyone. I can't believe I didn't talk. It's unbelievable. Anyway, I'm Drew. Nice to meet you. Actually, you did hear Leslie say, I do own a marketing company, and we did all the design for the Creative Industries Zone. We are in South Salt Lake. So, you know, if you need any website or you just want to talk my ear off about driving traffic to your business, I'll listen and give you some free advice. But two things I wanted to do. One, does anyone have any questions about beer? beer? If you do and you're shy, you can come up to me and ask me the difference between seltzer and beer, or Cask, Nitro,
What's the
CO2.
difference between seltzer and beer? What is in a seltzer?
What is in a seltzer? Here we go. Now we're going. What is in a seltzer? So seltzer is a refined sugar, right? And we actually take corn syrup and what's the other? Corn sugar, and I'm trying to think of the other sugar, but they're actual sugars which we ferment, which becomes a malt liquor. Everyone remembers malt liquor when they were younger, right? Raise your hand if you drink malt liquor when you were younger. Okay, all right. Yeah, MD 2020. Woo! Wrong crowd. I know you know what to do. Anyway, so it becomes a malt liquor, and what most people do is they make this liquor, and then they ferment it with yeast, right? Because everyone knows that yeast mixed with sugar makes alcohol, right? And so when you put in the fermentation tanks, which are the long tanks that have the circular bottoms, the yeast eats the sugar and then poops out alcohol. And so that's what the difference is. What the difference is between beer and seltzer is with beer we actually use ingredients such as hops and malts. And then we actually make what's called a wort, which is a sugary compound that actually the yeast eats and poops out liquor. So a wine is grape juice, which is sugar, and then guess what the yeast does? It eats it and poops out wine. Okay, I just like to say poop. So that's the difference. Everyone understand? Cool. Now, next thing I want to do, any other questions about beer?
What's Nitro?
What is Nitro? Great question. So, back in the day, all the beer was cask beer. Has anyone had a cask beer yet? So our cask beers, which is pretty unique to Grid City, is an old world style of the way they serve beer. And what they did is they pitch yeast off the fermentation tanks. They put them in kegs that look a little like this, and then the yeast naturally carbonates the beer. And what happens is they have a mechanism that pulls it up from the bottom and actually self-carbonates the beer. And Guinness, back in the day, was shipping these across the ocean, and the yeast would get shook up in kegs, and the kegs would actually get ruined when they would deliver them, like 1 out of 10 kegs. So they came up with a way to actually mimic that, which is actually Nitro. But Nitro is served cold. So you've seen Guinness, everyone's drinking Guinness or seen it poured with a thick head. And what that is instead of CO2, carbonation, CO2, instead of carbonation, which is like your normal beers, they found a way to make the bubbles really forced hard, which is with nitrogen. We do it really unique here. If you go downstairs, if you go to the bathroom, and if you're standing in the bathrooms or here and you look up to the right, we actually bought a thing called a nitrogenator, and it actually takes all the ambient nitrogen in the air, which anyone, a scientist here, what percentage of nitrogen is in our air? Anyone? 80%. Yeah, it's something high like that, right? Yeah, 80%. We take all the ambient nitrogen and we actually create the nitrogen on demand to pour you the nitrogen beer. So it's actually a really unique way that we do it. And so the nitrogen is supposed to mimic old style beer, but it's really tight bubbles rather than big bubbles like carbonation. That help you answer? Cool. Awesome. Any other questions? One of them is the cask is served. Okay, so what was asked was, are the 3 different servings different temperatures? One of them is the cask is actually served at 55 degrees. Back in the day, they would pull it from the cellar up. So it's served at 55 degrees, so traditionally it's warmer, which really lends to the actual malt profile of the beer rather than the actual hop profile of the beer. When you serve it colder, like the nitrogen and the CO2, those are served at the same temperature. Those actually like pronounce the actual effervescence in the nose of the hops. So it's really interesting. If you haven't had one of our beers on Cask, Nitro, and CO2, what it really is one of our beers that's brewed out of the same tank, but it's 3 different gases and they taste like 3 completely different beers. So, cool. Any other questions? All right. Now I have one more question. I have one more thing. I will buy a person a beer who could show me where the state of Utah is and our logo.
Between the I and T.
Nice. That girl gets a beer. Right between the I and the T and the negative. State of Utah. Also, if you see our GC, which is our main logo, which I like to brag about, a lot of people see the G and the C or a bullseye. There's also a G and the C and the negative, but really, what it really is someone actually drinking a beer. Or like our brewmaster likes to say the angel will blowing his trumpet. I prefer the bear.
Show us where that is.
Right here. If you see right here, this is the bottle. And it's someone drinking the beer. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Thank you for letting me talk to the microphone, Justin. Thank you, Jen, for saying yes. Thank you, City of South Salt Lake, for doing all the things you did for me and all of my businesses. What do you mean, this one? Oh, Creative Industry Zone? Okay, so now I gotta tell you about the Creative Industry Zone a little bit. Other than the people who are involved in designing it, does everyone understand or see what this logo is? It's a C, an I, and a Z. Yeah, I know I do these things artistically. So anyway, yeah, there's two of my logos that I designed. So if you need any logo help for your business, plug. Anyway, thank you guys again. Appreciate it. And take a milk shot if you haven't ever taken it.